Welcome to my channel. It's Tina at Tina Stitches. Today is Sunday, April 30th, the last day of April. So it's been 3 weeks since my last video, so I have a lot to share. This is a channel on YouTube called Flosstube. This is where we talk about cross stitch. Mostly cross stitch. Sometimes there's other crafts thrown in, but for me especially, it's mostly cross stitch. I do other crafts, but I haven't for quite a while. So, yeah, 3 weeks, a lot of stitching. I was hoping to have something finished, but I didn't get it finished. Not fully finished anyways. And I don't have it here because I want to share it when it's fully finished. So, I can't make any promises. So I have a lot of projects to show you, and some of them have a lot of progress. Some of them have not a lot of progress, or it seems like a little bit of progress. But any progress is a good thing. So I don't think I have anything from the previous video that I need to go over, except that I did forget to share some of my haul, and so I have that here for this week's portion of the haul portion of the video. So yeah, other than that, no, not true. I did participate in the Heaven and Earth 50% off sale, so I did get a new chart there, and I will share that with the haul. I'm just making a note so I don't forget. So, life update very quickly, not a lot. Painting the craft room, and so it'll be a little while yet before I get in there because we're waiting for something to come in. It's on order. And dogs are about the same. Gidget is I have 2 dogs. They're both rescues. Gidget is a terrier / dachshund mix, and she's like a 2-year-old with ADHD. Very healthy otherwise. And Khaleesi is my very small dog. Well, she's not a teacup dog, but she's a small lap dog, and she has rheumatoid arthritis, and now she's going blind. And she's been having a couple of rough days, so she's just lounging in the chair over there. So if you hear any nails on the floor, that would be Gidget. She's going back and forth between down here and upstairs. So, which is very typical of her. The only time she can't do that is when we have the baby gate closed, which we had to buy because of blind dog happening here. So it also does help in keeping them from jumping all over people when they come in the house, because our entry is right at the landing for the basement stairs. So there's a baby gate there too. There was ever since we moved in, because we had another dog that was blind, and he was supposed to come here with us. And so that's why we bought the first baby gate. Now there's a baby gate at the top of the stairs. But it's open right now, so Gidget is going wherever she wants. Anyways, you're not here to hear about my problems with dogs. You're here to see stitching. And yeah, this might be a long video. So I'm just going to start with this one at the top of the pile. I forgot to prepare the zippers. I hope the lighting is okay. This is a Dimensions kit that I started. She's thirsty. Last year in May for Mother's Day, I started this with Kim of Stitch and Stuff. This is the Dimensions pattern kit, Simplicity Vintage. That's what it's supposed to look like. This is where it was when you last saw it. And here's where I am at now. I don't know if I had any of the back stitching done when I last showed it. But there's some back stitching now. And I don't think this foot was done, and I think that was corrected, and I just did some half stitches in the background. I honestly can't remember where it was when I last showed it, but I only worked on this for one day. I intended to work on it for 2 days because of the monthly magazine challenge group, the acrostic. I had it on there twice, but I only worked on it once. So I'm also, the kit, the Dimensions kit that this was, came with 14 count Ada. I swapped it out for 28 count ivory, off-white, whatever you want to call it. I believe it's Monaco, but it could be Lugana. I thought it was Monaco for a long time, but now I'm not so sure. It was unmarked in the stash. So there's that. This one I worked on for 2 days because I really need to get this done, and I try to work on it at least once a month on the 1st or the 20th because it's change of seasons and it's just something in my head. This is Dressmaker's Daughter. I've been working on this one for quite a while. It's since 2018. I believe I started it in Maynia 2018. Here's where it was when you last saw it. And here's where it's at now. And I've been working on the fall dress, and this is all new. All of this from part way, and then this here also is new. So just the background this time. But I did find that this was a good one to pull out when I didn't want to have to count, because it's just filling in the background, especially if you already have the motifs, the apples in, then just go through the background with the yellow, which I just keep tucked into the grime guard, so easy to pick up and work on. And I really need to look at purchasing the beads, because we're getting to that point for most of them. I think the only one that's not finished is winter. Spring and summer. Actually, winter. Yeah, winter, the bottom part needs to be done. And that will, I will switch over to winter in summer. This one I haven't stitched on for a while, and I had put it on my monthly magazine challenge for the acrostic, and I put it on there for evenweave, E. And this is from a magazine, but I think you can buy the pattern as a standalone. But I had the magazine, and this is the monthly magazine challenge group that we're talking about. So, and my magazine's falling apart because this is right, the pattern that's in the center. This is Welcome by Teresa Winsler. Here's where it was when you last saw it. And here's where it's at now. And I've mostly backstitched for these 3 days that I worked on it this month. And it really makes a lot of difference. So that's where that one's at. Next time I pull this out, I think I'm going to move the Q-snap over so that I can... Oh, I'm pretty sure I worked on just the straight border. So that I could move the Q-snap along. But I wanted to have the back stitching done before I move the Q-snap because I hate back stitching. So I don't want to do it at the end. I hate it, but I love it. It really, really defines things sometimes. Most of the time. That was Welcome. This is how I manage my Teresa Winslers. I make floss cards and they're all the same length, roughly. If it's a longer length, I won't use it for a blend because this has lots of blends. But yeah, that's what I do. This next one I'm going to show you is a new start. I needed something to work on at work, and so, zipper, I brought this one to work because when I bought it, it was all kitted up. This is an older pattern by Shepherd's Bush. You can't really make out the design. It is amaranth, and this was published in, I just saw it, 1989. But that's, what it's going to look like. I don't think I'm going to frame it. When I got it, it came with everything. Somebody had kitted it up, put it on stash and load, and sold it. Never stitched. And the piece of fabric they included was pretty big. And so I'm only stitching it on half of it. I moved it over for a good margin, and then I'll trim off, because I think I'm just going to make a little cushion, a little pillow out of this. But looking at it, it might be too big for a pillow. It might be a project bag or something. Maybe a needle roll. It's actually almost the right dimensions. So there's where I'm at. So I started in the center because I'm just guessing at the size. So I took a chance, started in the center, and I'm working my way up. So that's where it's at now. This is just DMC threads. And pearl cotton, DMC pearl cotton. That's my lunchtime project. Easy. I even worked on it on Zoom yesterday. Because it's just it's a band sampler right now, and so it's just the same stitch going all the way across. So that's easy enough to do, right? Okay. So now I'm going to share Inner Depths. This is my Heaven and Earth project, one of them. Full coverage. I stitch on this in the mornings before I go to work. This is by artwork by Chris Ortega, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Here's what the finished design will look like, and where it was when I last showed it. And here it is now. And I worked on, well, really, I just been working my way across, but I've been over here mostly. So it might not look like a whole lot of difference. It really doesn't look like a lot to me, but I know that I am working to the 30th row, completing it as I come across. And that's where that's at. I'm going to move this one back here. Okay. My other Heaven and Earth that I'm working on is a stitching shelf. I started this last August for World Cross Stitch Day, and it was a stitch along with Carolyn Zook and Kim, C-Zook Stitch and Stitch and Stuff. We started this together with a bunch of other people on a Zoom call, and there is a Facebook group, and I will have that linked below. And this is what it's going to look like when it's finished, and where it was when you last saw it. And here's where it's at now. I moved the Q-snap. So I've finished off the hourglass scene, and I wanted to work on the shelf below, so I moved the Q-snap and I'm working. This one book is really where I'm coming off of, so I'm filling in as I come down from side to side and bringing the threads in whatever direction they wind up going. So it's similar to typewriter style, but it's not quite the same. And you can see there's a person sitting here, and that's what's basically been the focus now that the book has ended. I'm just, just coming down, working this in, and we'll just keep doing that system till I hit the shelf down here, and then I'm gonna go in the direction to like fill in her, so I would fill this in. So that's where that's at now. I had it written down, but I'm 700 stitches shy of the goal of 100 stitches a day. So right now, I'm at 25,397, 6.76%, and I was supposed to hit 26,000 3 days ago. So I'm a little behind. So I'm going to keep working on that for the next couple days instead of switching out. Like I normally switch out for inner depths in the morning at 1,000 stitches. So I would have done that at 25,000, but I'm behind on that, so I'm continuing until I hit 26,000. Then I will switch. And if I pick a color with a big chunk of stitches, then it won't take long. Okay, these next 3 projects, well, I'll share this one. This is Royal Tudor Mandala by Chatelaine. Here's what it's going to look like and where it was when you last saw it. And this one, I'm not anywhere near my goal for the month. I wanted to have, like a section done. I'm trying to think now, am I really behind or am I on track? Because well, so I need to finish the lettuces in this one and the specialty stitches in this one. But I went ahead and started on this section up here. But I really should just go back and finish these before I move the Q-snap. And there's back stitching to do here, which the back stitching on this one is kind of annoying because it's gold. It's done in the gold petite treasure braid, so it gets kind of confusing. You have to do it all at once. But that's where it's at. So I'm going to have to double check on whether I'm behind or on track. I feel like I'm behind. Okay, these next two have stories. So the first one I'm going to share is out of this Treasures in Needlework premiere issue, which was released sometime in '93 or something like that. 1992. I wasn't stitching at that time, but I found this magazine at a a used bookstore. Yeah. Picked it up because I really liked this pattern. And this has been in my stash since probably '98, to be honest. I started stitching in '95. And yeah, this is a gorgeous pattern. And because of the monthly magazine challenge group, this one has been flagged as a must-do soon. Like, why am I holding on to this for this long and not stitching it? It's DMC, Kreinik, filament, treasure braid, well, not treasure braid, but petite braid, beads, which they don't specify Malhill, they just give color names. And I mean, look at the detail on here. So I decided it was time to pull it out, start it, and just work on it little by little here and there. And this month, it's still April. When you see it, it's probably last month, April. Theme of the month for the magazine challenge group was library. It's a Bible story. The Bible is a book. Books are in libraries. That's my reasoning. And I pulled it out and I worked on it. And I really wanted to do the back stitching because it just really makes the piece. So here's where it was when you last saw it. And here it is now. I mean, look at that. I really hope the camera is focusing because I can't see it. But look at that detail. I'm stitching mine on 32 count it's Belfast linen by, is it Belfast? I can never remember if this is Belfast or Permin, but it's 32 count. Blue, and I believe it called for 28 count. Let me just look this up. Yeah, 28 count. They call for 28 count denim blue Jobelin. And they call for it to be stitched with 3 strands of DMC. I'm stitching it on 32 and using 2 strands of DMC. There are blends in this, and it calls for like 3 of one and 2 of the other. No, got that wrong. 1 strand of one color and 2 strands of another color to make a 3rd color. I'm just using 1 and 1 because there's no duplicate number combination. So 1 and 1 is fine. And where it calls for the blending filament, it calls for 1 strand of DMC and 3 strands of blending filament, and I'm using 1 and 2. I haven't gotten into the braid situation yet. I have the braids. But where it is stitched, I may have to go with a petite treasure braid or a finer Krynic braid. But yeah, I mean that, I also worked a little bit over here because I had to get the red and the blue in the hat done so that I could do the back stitching, and I also did some background again so that I could work on the back stitching. Yeah, it is gorgeous. Every time I pick it up, I mean the detail. Just so much detail. I mean, he even has fingernails. Where are they? So, there's that. Now the next one, now that one has a lot of colors. This is something that I think I'm going to have to address because I do not like flipping through all of these bags when I need one color. I would much rather use a floss card. Now I have to put them back. And here are the Krynic braids and cable. I think I did order a size smaller because I've had this situation with Crystal Christmas by Mirabilia where the braid was super thick. It was ridiculous. Now, this next one is Beautitudes by My Big Toe. And in my last video, I had mentioned that I am very low on one of the colors. I had bought a few skeins of cranberry by Gentle Arts and was running low. So I ordered more, and the ones that came don't match. I don't even have them here. Strange. But anyways, they were not going to work because the color difference was just dramatic. I showed it in my last video, so you can refer to that. I'm just going to move my threads out of the way here. So here's where it was when you last saw it. And here's where it is now. So I came up and around the corner and finished the B and the L. The red thread that's in there is the new one, which I am going to explain now. After my last video, the next day, we were going into town. We hit Walmart, and I decided to grab a bunch of DMC thread. So I grabbed, I think, 4 different colors. I got 816, 815, 304, and another color, which, did I keep it? Hold, please. Okay, so I had grabbed 2 skeins of each of these and 3 skeins of 498. And really the only reason why I grabbed 3 skeins of 498 was because I dropped one on the floor and was like, ah, I'll just take it. I'll use it regardless. So these are the ones that I have left. And the 498 happen to be the closest to this that I brought home. So this is the original color. I don't know how better to show it to you, but there it is. So I also at Walmart bought Rit dye. This one is wine, and I thought I'm going to darken this red. So this looked appropriate. So what I did was I took a solo cup and some water and some Rit dye, and I dipped it. I wrapped the floss around a cardstock, and then I tied it much like you would see what is it? Silks for You, Hanks. So I tied little bits of thread, floss, in like 3 areas, and then I soaked it in the Rit for a little while, and it was not long enough because I rinsed it out and it was practically the same color I started with. So then I decided to take the Rit dye and water. I only had about that much in the bottom with maybe a capful of Rit dye. I dipped the floss in, and then I used a clothespin, anything like that. I have them for sewing. They're just little, well, basically a clothespin, and I clipped it over the edge and just had this end sitting in the dye, and I left it overnight. And I got very close to the original color. I'm going to insert a picture here of right after it was finished. The only difference is, and it's just a slight difference, the Gentle Arts one has a very slight gray hue to it. Here, I have some white paper here, let's see. Oh, we're not going to get a good light. So that's the old beside the new. I know this looks brighter, but that's just the lighting. This has a grayish hue to it, but I cannot tell which color is which on here because I've already used it. So that was exciting. So happy that that worked out. Somebody did reach out to me and offer to send me their skein of cranberry, and I want to say thank you very much for that offer, Julie. It was very much appreciated, but we did discuss that I had already dyed the floss and it worked out. So Julie is from Stitching at the Cabin. If you don't watch them, you should go watch them. They're a mother-daughter, Julie and Alyssa, and there's baby too. So yeah, you should check them out. They stitch very much the same things I do. As a matter of fact, Alyssa is stitching her Pandemic in the same colors I'm stitching my Adia Garden Fairy by Mirabilia. So there's, yeah, that's another coincidence. Yeah. So also Julie mentioned, and I did not know this, Ecru, DMC Ecru floss is supposed to be easier to dye, takes the dye easier than white DMC. I've not tried that. I haven't tried dyeing any other DMC aside from this red. And we also talked about well, dyeing floss in general. Over-dyed, from my understanding, over-dyed means that they took a red floss, in my instance, a red floss, and added more dye to it. That's how I think of over-dyed. But I think Julie was thinking that it was just starting right from a neutral base and then just repeatedly dyeing it, which could also be the case, like super saturating it. So who knows? I know Garon Stitchery had a notice come back from Color and Cotton or somebody about their dye lots being different because the dyes that they use on the DMC floss that they get for the bases are different because of dyeing rules in France. So, yeah, another one to learn, right? Yeah. So, the more you know. Yeah. Backstitching, I talked about dyeing the thread, I talked about, also I can't wait to see her little dog, Taco, in the pouch that we discussed. Because I have a small dog who's arthritic, we ended up buying a little pouch because when we go for walks, she gets too sore, so I end up carrying her. Sometimes that's okay because she's only, 11 pounds. She should be 8, but But your arm gets really heavy, and you know, carrying a baby around for hours at a time, your arm gets sore. That baby gets heavy. Same with Khaleesi. 11 pounds gets heavy. So I bought a pouch for her. Like a sling. I tried, you know, I looked at baby slings. They're like $90, $100, and it's like, forget that. And then I, on a whim, looked up dog pouch, and sure enough, they make basically a sling for a dog. So I got one for her. She's okay in it. She's getting used to it. The last time we took a walk, she made it a third of the block, and then I put her in this sling pouch thing, and she stayed in there most of the way home without any I don't want to say argument, without struggling to get out. She stayed in there just fine. So, yeah. Maybe I'll link that below so that you can see what I'm talking about. And I'll post a picture here of her modeling it for Julie. So, haul. Heaven and Earth had a sale. And I wasn't going to buy anything. But then somebody on Facebook had posted that they were going to stitch the 10th. I think it's just called the 10th. And it's a pattern on Heaven and Earth, and it looks like stained glass Doctor Who. I am very tempted to go and get that one as well, but as much as I like Doctor Who, I'm not certain that I want to spend that much time on a Doctor Who pattern. But I did get another pattern by the same designer, and just pulling it up on my phone here. I got a mini because I have only so much time. But I think that the regular one might have been a better choice because there are some details that are going to be lost on the mini. This is Fairy Tale Alice in Wonderland, of course, Alice, right? By Mandy Monzano. And this is what it looks like. Lots of details. There's a clock face behind there. There's a that box says "Eat Me." Yeah. But I think it would be a good one also because it's more block stitching than confetti, like a stitching shelf is. Only has 90 colors. I think that Inner Depths only has 90 colors or less. So, you know, I did get the mini, which is only $231 by $325. So 9 1/8 by 13 inches on 25 count. So it's not very big. That's really not very big at all. We'll see. I have too many things on the go right now. I only have about 30 whips, but some of them I really need to get out of the way. So that brings me to plans. In May, mental health, I do have it written down. Candy from the 614 Stitcher has initiated a hashtag for Mental Health May. And it is Mental Health Care Sal or Mental Health Care May. And I'm not doing Maynia. I've done that and I'm at my capacity. I do have some starts planned. I had a new start planned for May, but I'm not going to do that until, to be honest, I'd like to knock a reindeer out before I start another project. But out of all the projects that I have, the one that most suits the mental health care May Sal is Beautitudes. So that's going to be my focus for that Sal. I might get a week in total on it, but anything would be good. And I'm working on Blessed, so I think if I could get E and S done, E and S, maybe the other S, I mean it's already started, and this border across, that would probably, it's only 1 page wide, right? I mean 2 pages wide, yeah. So if I get to this S, well, there's the halfway mark right there. So we'll try to get to the halfway mark and see where we go from there. But this is my mental health care Sal focus. Also, May is my sister's birthday month, and I've been stitching on Queen Mariposa because it reminds me of her. So that one I want to pull out. I would also like to pull out Remember November on the 11th, because Remembrance Day is November 11th, and so that would be appropriate. But I also, the 11th, I believe, I have to look at my calendar now, is Mother's Day, which means, no, it's not. The 11th is Thursday. Mother's Day is the 14th. So Simplicity will be stitched on the 14th. Vintage Simplicity, because Mother's Day. Now I'm looking at that, and I have most of that blue dress done, and that is a big part of it. I'd like to get that done this year, before next Mother's Day. Let's just say that. In this full year cycle, we'll try to get that one done. Aside from that, I think that is all that I have planned. Royal Tudor, I would like to get a section done. And I would like to pull out Poppy Girl if I have time. But, you know, that is so much already. Haul. The haul that I forgot to show you last time. I jumped back and forth, sorry. DMC, don't know what project it belongs to, but I bought DMC. I also bought a lot of the beads and treasures for the reindeer, which obviously I haven't been stitching on because I would have showed you. what I think I need to do is swap out Blitzen for a different one. Because I think Blitzen is done as far as I can go without getting another packet of beads or switching to Delicas. But I have more beads and treasures for the Nora Corbett reindeer, and I believe the purple ones are for another Mirabilia. Might be Dressmaker's daughter. Might not be. But I really don't think it's a reindeer. I also got a piece of fabric called Storminess. It's 32 count, and there's no creator, dyer listed on it. So I got this from Stitch It Central. I don't know if they dye their own. That's what it looks like. It's coming up very modeled on the camera, but it's not. It's a bit softer, but it's still visible. Yeah. And I think it's showing up more gray than it is, but that's about right there. It's a bit of a bluish tint to it. I don't know what I'm going to put on it. It's 32 count Lugana, so could be almost anything. Could be a mermaid. I'll have to look at my mermaids. It's about time I start a mermaid, don't you think? Okay. I think I've covered everything now. Now I have to go edit this. That's going to take a while. Yeah. So, until next time. No. I forgot. It's been a few years since my journey into Flosstube, and I really do need to do a giveaway. I think it is it 5 years now or 6? Going on to YouTube to see. Let's go all the way to the beginning. 6 years ago. April of 2017. Yeah, that would be 6 years. So, I need to do a giveaway. I know, I still have a giveaway from my 2 videos ago, and I don't think the person has seen the video, or maybe they don't want it anymore. I don't know, but Blooming Hearts, Tiny Town, I'm going to put that back on the market. This is going to be also in a giveaway. So, if you want this, then say heart, and you will be in the draw. It doesn't have the buttons because I used the buttons, but I believe you can get little tiny hearts at Michael's, and that's all they are, is little tiny hearts. Okay. Heart. I'm also going to do a giveaway for a $25 gift certificate at Heaven and Earth, and for that, just say Earth. And I'm going to give away a $25 value gift certificate to any I want to say US based store, but online store, $25 US value. If you're in Canada, we'll do a conversion. Anywhere else, we'll do a conversion. Like if you're in Australia and you have an online store there that you want me to do, I'll try to do a conversion there. For any, yeah, I was going to say Garon or 123. Those are some of the popular ones. There's Traditional Stitches in Canada. There's Stitch It Central in Canada. I don't know if they do gift certificates. I haven't bought one from them. We can do Heaven and Earth, whatever you want. And for that, just say, I thought about being silly and saying Flosstubiversary, but try to spell that, right? So let's just say floss. So heart, earth, and floss. And I think I'm going to have to limit it at that. If you stuck around this long, good for you. You are now entered. You are now in the know about the giveaway. So don't say giveaway. You must be 18 or older so that I can get your address. And I'm sure there's something else. Don't say giveaway or anything like that, because that attracts people who really don't deserve to be in the giveaway. I can't remember what the other rule is. I'm sure there's another one. But anyways, please observe the rules. Oh, be a subscriber, please. And maybe tell me where you learned about me from. I would like to know. Just out of curiosity, is it like another Flosstuber, or was it YouTube recommendations? You know, I see a lot of YouTube recommendations that come up on my list, so that's how I find people. Sometimes I go and check out somebody that somebody keeps mentioning, and yeah. Also, I have to say thank you to Gail from Gail's Golden Needle. She shouted me out on her last video. Thank you. I really want to pull out my sexy sampler again, but so many things to work on. Just trying to fit everything in the schedule and work full-time, right? So yeah, anyways, I better go now because I'm rambling, and this is going to be a long one. Thank you for sticking around. Remember to take care of yourself. Happy stitching. Bye.